This past Friday was Hayuf, the Yutzas from Luria Hakadosh. He lived around 500 years ago. He was one of the biggest in mysticism in Kabbalah, and he used to talk a lot about reincarnation. He had a student, Reb Chaim Vital, and there was a story where a student asked him, Rebbe, you talk so much about reincarnation. I want to see how a reincarnation is playing out. I would like to witness such a situation. So the Rebbe told him, okay, go to a lake. He designated him a lake where to go to. And he said, be there the whole day, but you have to hide yourself. Nobody can see you. And just watch what's going on. And you can't get involved with anything you're seeing. No matter what you see, you have to promise me you're not going to get involved. Just watch. So he promised, and he went there. He found a spot where he could hide. And that spot was right across where he saw a place where it looked like it's meant for people to rest. So he was waiting there, and he sees a guy coming. The guy looked like a pretty wealthy guy, a rich guy. And he sits down there in that resting place, like under a tree, and he takes a nap. He sleeps, wakes up after a while, picks himself up and walks away. And he realized he left a bag. And he was about to say, hey, scream to him, you left a bag there. But that he told him not allowed to get involved, so he didn't say anything. A little while later, he sees a regular, ordinary guy passes by, and the guy also sits down in that place, wants to take a nap, is trying to make himself comfortable, and he feels, something is bothering there, and he sees a bag. He opens up the bag, and he sees gold. And the whole bag is full of gold, golden coins. So he looked here and there, like, who does this coins belong to? And he sees nobody. So he was like, whoa, I just, struck gold. Dreams coming true. There's no simon. I don't have to find somebody who to belong to. So he just took it, and he wasn't tired. When you find so much money, you're not tired anymore. And he went on his way. A little while later, a poor guy came, and the guy was looked very exhausted. He sits down, he falls asleep, and in the middle of sleeping, suddenly the rich guy came back. And the rich guy woke up the poor guy and was like, hey, sir, I left there a bag of gold. I need my gold. And this guy was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, I left there a bag of gold, and you took it. Give it back to me. It's my gold. And the poor guy says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any money. I'm starving for hunger. I don't have anything. Which gold are you talking about? And that guy said, you're a stealer. Give me back my gold. And the guy was saying, I don't know what you're talking about. So the guy took out his stick and started beating him up. And the guy was begging him, please leave me alone, and crying to him, I don't have anything. I don't know what you want from my life. And the guy just kept on beating him. And then the guy left, and that poor guy stayed over there all broken. But Reb Chaim Vital was not allowed to get involved. He didn't say anything, but he couldn't take it anymore. It seemed to him like very injustice what happened today. So he went back to the Luria Hakadosh and told him what he saw. So the Luria Hakadosh told him, those three men lived in the same city in the previous life. The two men that you saw, the rich guy and the regular guy, they were two neighbors. And the poor man was the Rav. The rich guy, in his previous life, owed money to the other guy. And he didn't want to pay him. So the guy went to the Rav. So the Rav called the other guy. So the guy came to the Rav and bribed him. He gave him a bribery. He should say that I don't owe him the money. And the Rav took the bribery and said, no, he doesn't owe you the money. So the guy never ended up paying him. So this guy had to come back to the world because he had to pay him back the money. And then the other guy had to come back for whatever his own reasons, but since he's in the same time, he had to come back. He was able to collect his debt. So that's why God made that this guy, the rich guy, should have exactly the amount of money he owed that guy, and go to sleep over there, and the bag should fall out of his pocket. And then that guy, because that guy was about to pass that area, and that guy's going to pick it up and find his own money. It was his money from a previous life. Now, the poor man, he was the roof. And he had to come back into this world because he took bribery. Now, the rich guy went and beat him up because that rich guy was a very good guy. He just had this one weakness of not paying back money for one guy. But other than that, he did everything okay. And so he had to come back into this world just because of this one thing. So imagine the roof wouldn't have taken the bribe. It would have ruled that he owed him the money. It would have had to pay back. Then he wouldn't have to come back to the world. So the guy was upset at him. Why did you make me come back to this world? I had to go relive my whole life, go through all the struggles just because there's one bribe. So he beat him up. It's your fault. So now Chaim Vital said, now I understand, but I don't want to see any stories anymore. But what we can learn from this story is, often in life, people go through a lot of struggles. People see a lot of things that seems to be injustice. People are asking, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to that person? This story just gives you one little example of how something can play out that to our eyes it seems like this is unfair. Why would a rich man beat up a poor man and just accuse him like that? So, and just knowing the story like that, you see, it is injustice, but if you know the story behind it, then it sounds very fair. So this is just an example. It does not mean anytime something happens to him is because something in the previous life. It could be multiple different things. It could be a challenge. It could be that this is your way to get to your tafkid. A lot of times people go through struggles and years later they see that this struggle was the thing that built them up. So it could be multiple different things, and sometimes you're never going to know. But this is just giving you an example to show you that things are happening on various different mysterious ways, and it seems to our eyes that it's injustice and it's not right, and you don't know why it's happening to you. But there's a reason, not just the reason, everything is calculated to the pinpoint why it's supposed to happen, exactly the way it's supposed to happen. A lot of times people say, they had a whole story because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's a big mistake. Nobody's at the wrong place at the wrong time. It seems to you that if you wouldn't have been there, then you wouldn't have had to go through this whole thing. No, but apparently if you were there, that means this was the best thing that were able to happen to you. You might not never find out. You will find out after 120, but not in this life. But there's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It is the right place at the right time. And this story is just giving you one little tiny example out of millions of different ways of how things are happening and why they're happening, to show you there's a reason for everything that's happening. So with askyekusiel, let's hope that everybody should get whatever they need, and we should be zoche, wie es goyet zedig meine man.